Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome inside The Lock Shop. Dusty with you. Huss will be joining us right away as well. We're going to be diving into all things National Hockey League tonight. Recap of the Monday Nighter as well. Shout out to Keenan Allen with that touchdown. Got the job done for the Edmonton Sports Talk crew. We've got an EST exclusive that's just sitting there waiting for you tonight over for the Oilers game. Oh, I see Winnipeg Sports Talk parlay in there too. Oh, this is going to be a good day. This is going to be a good show. You can hit us up in that nasty chat, or, of course, you can text us anytime on the EST text line 780-218-9999. Fantasy Football 5 coming up. By the way, great hangout today. If you're listening live, hangout today was awesome. Bryn was great. It was awesome to have Bryn here. And Jerry Montajon always brings it. So it was good to catch up with the big Jaheezy today here at the offices of Edmonton Sports Talk. Maddie, can you turn up the juice a little bit on me? No? That's Max? Are you serious? I'm maxed out.
No, I upped it, but it didn't change since the morning show. Why do you need more?
I don't know. I guess maybe it's because Eric's not here. I just want to hear myself. Oh yeah, that sounds nice. Is it even? Could you go a little bit more, or is that cranked?
We're getting almost
1,
cranked.
2. I know. Well, buddy, I told you, man. I don't know if these are really working. I got them jammed in my ear. I don't know how far you're supposed to put them in your ear. You know, we might have to get a headset or something. Fergie's prostate.
Well, you could go with the earbuds.
I could go with the earbuds, I guess, but those always fall out. It's ridiculous. All right, let's dive into it. There he is. There's a man. Huss, what's up, buddy?
Levels.
What? Say that again? Go ahead.
How are your levels?
Oh, my levels are good. I can hear you now just fine. I don't know, man. Did you realize, being on the air for so long, is your hearing taking a hit, or is that just me? I have my phones cranked beyond, what everybody else even has remotely close.
Yeah, I think I've sort of dodged that bullet. Luckily, the guys that really get it are the ones that are in rock radio. They're blasting really loud music for a long time. I think in this format, I mean, I haven't really noticed it too much. Touch wood. I mean, I guess that could change at any point, but I know plenty of veterans of this industry that, it's taken a bit of done a bit of a number on the ears. You use earbuds when you're doing these shows?
No, it's like the EFB thing, like they'd use on TV.
Oh, big boy. It's a
Wanix idea. And, I mean, I'd still like to just roll a headset, but I guess maybe it looks better when we're on video. Eric uses earbuds. Earbuds don't help me. They fall out, too. It's kind of ridiculous.
Use the cans. I use the cans for WST.
Yeah, we watch you all the time on WST.
It's but I don't know, for the Lock Shop, this actually works out well. It comes through my speaker, and the mic is on. There you go, a little behind the scenes volume issues for all of us in the industry. What did you think of that game last night?
Kind of what I expected from a Cowboys-Chargers game, to be honest with you. I mean, how many opportunities did the Chargers have in that football game last night, Huss? Holy smokes.
That team, I know we talked yesterday. I've got a few friends that are Charger fans, and man, signing up for that is that is tough. Now, granted, I recognize my privilege as a Chiefs fan right now. Granted, for 15 years pre-Mahomes, it certainly was not always as glorious as it is right now. But my God, the Chargers and what they put their fans through each and every week is unbelievable. I mean, the amount of times where, I get the 4th and 1 going for it, although as someone that needed another field goal, I would have appreciated them just putting the damn points on the board a couple times. But the thing that's the craziest about the Chargers is their knack for taking the absolute dumbest penalties at the most crippling times. I mean, they turned a 15-yard sack into a 15-yard gain.
Yeah.
With, that Derwin James penalty. And it's not like they're bad or chintzy calls. I mean, they're pretty obvious in most cases. The team can't get out of their own way. And the Cowboys, for their part, had their moments, came through when it mattered. But I mean, I don't know. Was that a confidence-inspiring victory for if you're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys right now? I mean,
Can't be. There's
these
no way.
teams, to use a term that the kids like these days, these are both very mid teams.
Whoa, what's mid? I didn't even know this. What's mid mean?
Mid mean? Well, it means
Like
exactly
mid-tier?
what it is.
In the middle? We're just shortening middle?
Yeah, mid. Not great, not terrible, just sort of.
That's so mid. That's so
Yeah.
mid. Huh. You know, I could get used to it. I think us adult males can adopt this as well.
Yeah. Drop that on Marshall and Elizabeth. They can,
we'll see if they know. We'll see if they know. A guy by the name of Eric Holt has texted 780-218-9999. It says, "Can you kindly ask Hus when Edmonton will see Mr. Ritz Cracker?" That's in from LTE.
Yes, folks. If you want a good laugh, last night, shout out to our friends at Boston Pizza, great sponsors of Winnipeg Sports Talk. We rolled down to the Taylor location and Ritz Cracker, Carter Chen, who is a true one of one. He has been building his own little Instagram empire of going, and he does an incredible job showing off, food and rooms. And so he does all these things with restaurants. He knew that BP was a sponsor of ours, and he he had borrowed my Kelsey jersey on Saturday night to go to a big Taylor Swift party at the Park Theater, which, and again, this is just part of the method of the madness. I mean, it was packed. It had to have been 95% female. He knew the DJ that was there. So he was the big star of the show with the Kelsey jersey. So anyways, he was coming to give it back to me. And I said, listen, I'm just going to be watching the game at BP right by your place. Just come in. By the time I get there, he's already talked to the GM. They're working on things. And next thing you know, he's getting all these appies thrown out. He's doing the masterful. He's got this massive lighting stick and he does all this stuff. It was quite educational for me, though, to see the magic happen. He's got this editing app on his phone. He's got a Samsung, which just has like 5 or 6 cameras on it.
Okay.
Like, it does an awesome job. But I mean, what a character. So to answer Eric's question, I don't know when I'll be able to get him out to Edmonton, but there's a whole flurry of content opportunities awaiting wherever Carter goes. So last night we had a bunch of new stuff at BP. Cajun shrimp we tried.
They're rolling out Cajun shrimp now?
Cajun shrimp. Great.
Wow.
First time I'd had it. I'm a huge fan of the hearty jalapeno popper dip with the cactus cuts. Amazing. Obviously, the wings are great. What do we have? The deep fried pickle spears as well. Have you ever had deep fried pickles?
Buddy, I've tried like one deep fried pickle. It's not my thing. It's not
Wasn't
my
your thing.
Have you ever had a deep fried Mars bar?
No, but I want to.
I know. Let's see. So this quick story. I was working in radio like 15, 17, 18 years ago. And I don't know, I went to do a story at like the fair or whatever. And I was like, I'm going to bring back a bunch of deep fried Mars bars for the crew. And it wasn't as good as you thought it would be. It was really disappointing because I love Mars bars and I pretty much love anything that's deep fried. And a deep fried Mars bar just didn't hit. I'll say this. It was very mid. It was very mid, Hus.
Mid. Wow. Jeez. I would have not. I will have one at one point, and I'm going to not let your take cloud me. I'm going to still be expecting the best because it does. I mean, I guess, those things are huge, especially in the States at those state fairs.
Yeah.
They'll have like everything deep fried. I guess I haven't been to the X in a long time, but I mean, they probably have something like that there, but I'm going to search it out. Maybe a deep fried Snickers. A deep fried.
I take a deep fried caramel bar. I'll give that caramel a run.
Could you do a caramel? I think the thinness of the caramel
just too melty. You're probably right.
Yeah, I think that's why you need to have the the volume and thickness of a Mars bar or a Snickers. to deep fry it properly. Again, I've never had it though, so these are just uneducated
Hey,
takes off the
before
top of my head.
before we get to our picks, and we'll get to Tuesday night here, obviously in the National Hockey League. I think I tagged you in it last night. You see the guy laying that 6-game parlay from prison, trying to get his $10,000 bail. We played the hell out of it this morning on our show. Lays them all out and then goes and make it a parlay, and it's 500 hit like 13 grand, and he got out of jail.
Popped out with $3,000 to party with.
Exactly. Right.
Listen, I'm all about keeping it responsible, folks, and doing it within your limits. I'm not about to say, you should be dropping 500 on parlays to bust yourself out of custody. But I'll tell you what, if you can pull it off, it's even more legendary. How did they have the video of that? Like, I still don't understand how that was all pulled off. I mean, I guess when you're making calls from jail, it's
I think they must record every single call that comes out of that jail. That's why part of me was like, dude, is this green screened? And it's like a bit. But I think when you go use the payphone in prison, I mean, I haven't been incarcerated lately, but I think they probably record all those calls just in case they need them for like trials and stuff, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, any calls I've been made locked up have not been videotaped. I didn't know, or maybe it's a hidden camera. I'm not too sure. So we'll do it. But it was a ball. And the fact that he had the Jets on the parlay.
And a WNBA play. Like
Yeah. By the way, we need to add the Liberty on there. Yeah. They're going to beat the Aces.
Yes, like that's basketball. Yes, WNBA. But yeah, the Jets, like trying to get out of jail, and you bet on Wilson and the Jets against the unbeaten Eagles. That's an all-time move, man.
It certainly was. I am, speaking of parlays, I am so pissed off about that freaking Calgary game last night. If you recall, right before I left, I said, hey, I've got 3 games tonight. I'm going to bet them and then throw them together at plus 690. The plus money odds one was the Panthers. So that one came through. They won 4-3. Detroit cruised over Columbus. Calgary had a 2-0 lead. They blow it. And then it goes to a shootout. No one on Calgary scores. And I had to watch the pain of the 20-minute shootout shot by Kuznetsov that finally goes in. And that was how I took the L on the parlay. I mean, I did get the 2 other ones, which was nice. So it sort of made up for it. But I was really leaning in onto a great start. That being said, one other funny thing from last night, my play of the day and my main pick was the under.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, it did not look too good 6 minutes into the game. I mean, both teams just went down and scored touchdowns right off the bat. But you never know what you're getting from these two teams. And just as good as they looked in the first 5 minutes of the game, no points for about the next 25 minutes. And it was an easy cruise on the under last night.
We hit our Edmonton sports talk parlay last night. It was
Keenan Allen,
80 plus. And the touchdown.
That was nice.
So that was nice. That's a no sweater on that touchdown. That was a cool bet hotline of the day.
Good number on that one. Too. That was like
considering it's Keenan Allen. Yeah, I mean that was a no brainer. I know there's a Winnipeg sports talk parlay up today. We got an Edmonton sports talk one up as well. I want to get to one more quick message from the nasty chat, as we call it, from you, Chaz. Said, did we find out if that $700 KBO bet hit from last night? Did you see this? Were you tagged on that too? And it's out of Edmonton.
I thought it might be Mr. Lean.
No, yeah, that's right. It was definitely not Mr. Lean. But we have had some KBO buzz on the lock shop in the past. Although to see somebody dropping 700 on a KBO money line did surprise me a little bit.
Okay, so it was the over 8.5 in the Doosan Bears and SSG Landers. Let's just get a quick, let's go for some KBO scores. It's going right now. There, end of the 8th, and SSG is up 5-0. So, what was it? He needed the over.
I don't know. I can't remember. Let's see here.
No, I've got it right here. So whoever is throwing that big chunk down on the KBO is sweating out, need 4 runs in the top of the 9th to hit this.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Shouting out whoever did that.
I do like seeing that incoming bet tracker on Cool Bet. You can go in and see, and you can just ride with some guys. I guess nobody was going to ride with the 7 hundo on the KBO.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's there. It's there as an option. It's there as an option for sure. Mark is in and says, pumped for this big skate or slate tonight. Maybe he means the slate tonight. But Hus, let's kind of take a look at the league tonight, and then we'll get to our exclusives that we've already got available there over at coolbet.com. What are you liking tonight outside of what we're going to get into here with Edmonton and Winnipeg and stuff?
Well, what do we like tonight? We like let's just get this back up here. Yeah, major focus in.
God, love it. Huge slate.
On the slate tonight. Let's just go through the games first of all, and then wow, this is big. I didn't realize there were so many late games as well. So the Canucks, after their great start, this would be so Canucks to beat Edmonton twice and then go in and lose to Philly on the road. Vancouver's minus 126 and the Flyers are plus 107. The Flyers are just so bad. I have a hard time backing them against anyone. I actually don't mind the Canuck number. I just don't trust that team at all. Although I'm not in Edmonton. I'm sure there's many people in Edmonton right now that think that the Canucks might be winning the cup right now after what's happened to start the season. We've got the Wild in Montreal to play the Canadiens. Wild minus 132. Tampa's in Buffalo plus 108. Buffalo home favorite against the Lightning. Wow. Minus 127 for Buffalo. The Coyotes who have looked pretty good so far this season. Plus 169, taking on the Islanders minus 201. They did play last night, lost a tight one, 2-1 to the Rangers. Oh, and the Oilers are in Nashville, minus 131, taking on the Preds at plus 111. That's got to be an ornery Oiler team right now after the way this thing has started.
Yeah, you would hope. I mean, Jay Woodcroft has already mixed up his line combinations. They're 2 games in. At least according to the morning skate today and the practice yesterday, I still might not believe it until I see it tonight when the puck drops. But McDavid and Draisaitl united together, Game 3, top line with Evander Kane. So Leon Draisaitl has a history of absolutely torching the Nashville Predators.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the Oilers have a history of doing very well against the Nashville Predators. They've lost 2 in a row. I mean, the entire city of Edmonton is going to be on the Oilers here at minus 131. I don't think you see Nashville involved in many games where the total's at 7. That to me, that comes across as kind of an Oilers total, even though they're on the road here. Like, if you go look at Nashville's lineup, man, there's not a lot of offense kicking around that group anymore. Or at least not offense that we expect kicking around that group anymore, right? Like, maybe there's some guys who give them more opportunity will have a chance to kind of explode a little bit offensively, but there's not a lot of offense kicking around there as well. So, yeah, I mean, if the Oilers don't get this one tonight against Nashville, people are going to absolutely lose their bloody mind, buddy. So they got to get it. Evander Kane was mocking, joking, whatever you want to call it yesterday, saying, yeah, we're dead last in the league, 0-2. You know, we got to kind of figure it out. So he's pulling off the usual shtick.
Kane cracks me up, man. He and you know what? Good for him. He seems to be, let's just say, he's made a lot of mistakes in his young life, but he seems to be in a much better spot. And there's no better spot if you're looking to score or get points than being on a line with McDavid and Draisaitl. So we'll see what happens tonight. Other games: Colorado Kraken. The Avs are minus 158. Seattle at home plus 134. Carolina, big favorite, and I think they'll be in a pissed off mood after losing to the Ducks on Sunday. They're in San Jose to play the Sharks. Sharks plus 260 home dogs. Don't see that too often. And then this is a wild one. Dallas is in Vegas, and this is like just about a pick 'em. Dallas is minus 111. Vegas is minus 106. The under is 6. And the under is under 6 is minus 120. I was just listening to Merrick before jumping on with you, and they had a guy going in that was talking about some trends. And Dallas has owned Vegas over the last kind of season and a half, and the games always seem to go under. So that, I guess, is why. Like, I was sort of stunned that Vegas wouldn't be, like, the Dallas wouldn't at least be a plus money road underdog taking on the Stanley Cup champs. But for whatever reason, they've had a lot of success against Vegas right now. And Dallas is actually the favorite in this game. Minus 111, and Vegas is minus 106. That if I hadn't heard that stat before, I would think that it was maybe wrong. All that being said, that's where things are at for that game. And then the main event for those of us here in the Peg tonight, the return of Pierre-Luc Dubois and the Los Angeles Kings to take on the Jets. 3 Kings are better than 1 court jester. Ari, Velarde, and Alex Iafallo getting a chance to play their own team. We got our first night with the WST group. They are going to be ready to go.
Do you know how many tickets you sold for that? Like, what's your section like? Like, is it going to be pretty good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's good. I think you probably have like 65, 70 people that got the package for the season for the 4 games. And then, I mean, there's a lot of other people too that, that have season tickets or packages that'll be coming up. I have a feeling. By the way, if you are a WST or you're going to the game, pop by the Whiskey Hangar outside of section 316. That's where we'll be getting together before the game. And it's gonna be awesome. I am very much looking forward to it. We've been waiting for this one for a while. And listen, this game, you know what they say, guys going up against their old teams. I think there's going to be plenty of money on the board tonight. And the way the Jets have played and the way they seem to be like really coming together as a team, I expect them to be ready to go for this one tonight. If you look at all the models right now, Dusty, of the analytics, expected goals, for, against, all that, Jets right up number 1 in the league right now after their first 2 games. Like, they really have looked great, albeit they had a tough way to lose that first game in Calgary, but came back against Florida. So we'll see whether they can keep it going tonight. There'll be a special atmosphere in the building tonight, I'm sure, for that one when Mr. Dubois comes back. And as I say, I did put together the WST exclusive, Jets to win, and Iafallo and Velarde to combine for 2 or more points.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's the revenge game special. The revenge game special right now. So we've got the boys, and I like that way because one guy could get 2 and the other guy could get 0.
That's a really smart move, buddy. I like that.
So it's just a fun way. Everyone's going to be cheering for both of those guys in a big way. I'm sure there'll be plenty of Bronx cheers for it's not Pierre-Luc anymore. It's PL Dubois.
PL Dubois.
Yeah. I don't know why guys change what they're referred to when they leave Winnipeg. First, it was Joel Armia, who went to the Habs and then became Yoel Armia. He just never told us that while he was here. By the way, he's making $3+ million in the A right now. Noticed on the weekend. So hopefully he'll make it happen. Just looking at these point totals, just for this Jets-Kings game, for the guys that we're kind of talking about. Iafallo to get a point is even money. Gabriel Velarde is minus 115. Dubois is minus 120. So all those players are in that mix. I don't think Dubois hasn't really done too much so far. In 2 games, all he's done is taken a bad kneeing penalty that one of his teammates had to fight for him. So
sounds about right. Is that par for the course?
Well, he is a bit of a rat. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, he's such a frustrating player because at times he could just absolutely take over games. And then at other times it seemed like he was not engaged and disinterested. I highly doubt that'll be the case tonight. I mean, if he comes out flat tonight, I mean, the Kings are going to be wondering, what the hell did we get?
What have we done?
Guy?
Yeah.
$8.5 million by 8 years. So we better check it out. Kyle Connor, just to give you an idea about how the Jets are rolling right now. Kyle Connor, point minus 235.
Wow.
Like, that's like borderline McDavid Draisaitl.
Let me throw this out at you. Draisaitl tonight's like minus 3 something for a point. Connor McDavid for a point tonight, Hus, is minus 1,050.
Get the fuck out
No,
of here.
I swear to God, man. I was looking at it earlier today. Let me see here. Let's see. I'll look at it right now. I was going to lay out that Edmonton, the parlay that we put together here.
Minus 962 right now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's moved. It was over minus 1,000 earlier today. So yeah.
Plus 510. Plus 510 to not get a point.
Yeah.
In the National Hockey League.
We've neve seen anything like it from a betting perspective, man. It's absolutely insane. I do have that exclusive on this Oilers game tonight that we'll get to. Also, huge shout out to Big Uke. I've already hopped on something that the Big Uke threw out in that nasty chat today. And Leon Draisaitl, over 1.5 points, plus 123 right now. Like plus money on Draisaitl over 1.5 points. If he does end up playing even strength with McDavid against a Nashville team that they routinely crush, plus all the bonus time on the power play as well. I mean, I've already got on that plus 123. I think that's a good one to absolutely hammer today as well. And then for our Edmonton Sports Talk parlay, when the Oilers beat the Preds, and they beat them quite a bit, it's usually by 2 or more. This was a Mr. Lean thing today. Mr. Lean kind of laid it out there on the way that the Oilers usually beat the Nashville Predators. So we've got Oilers minus 1.5, plus a Draisaitl goal, and Bouchard to have a point tonight. And he's going to be on all that juicy power play time. I mean, it's happening. So Draisaitl goal, Bouchard point, Edmonton minus 1.5 sits at plus 475 for the game tonight, and that's available in the Cool Bet exclusives section.
You know, Kane minus 137 for a point. Sounds pretty good to me if he's going to be playing with those guys. What's Evander to score? Plus 173.
Yeah,
for
it was plus
score.
169 this morning, so that's moved slightly.
Just got up a little bit. Everyone's so focused on 29 and 97, they're forgetting about the natural. So anyways, Evander's in there. That is going to be, well, listen, when you mentioned Nashville, and I was thinking about, doesn't he have like 2 4-goal games against?
Yeah, he's got like
Predators?
22 goals in the last 23 games against Nashville or something like that. Like,
basically automatic.
He torches the Preds. So we got on that. Uchaz is pointing out Connor McDavid is minus 159 to get 2 points tonight.
Yeah.
Like but I mean, last year he had more 3-point games than he had 1-point games. So he's just
Draisaitl Hattie 21-1.
21-1.
Evander Hattie 41-1.
Tyson Barrie goal is like plus 600. Former Oilers always score against the Oilers. So I think we sprinkled that one earlier this morning on the Nielsen show as well. Huss, do you want to put together a little 3-gamer here tonight? Like, yeah, I know we got our exclusives, but we might as well put together a little lock shop parlay here.
Yeah, I see no reason to not do it. I maybe am just gonna not put the Jets on this card just to not muck them. But Edmonton minus 132. I'm in on that.
Where are you at? Where are you at on Buffalo? Just because I know you're really high on Buffalo in the opener, and it didn't happen. I too like Buffalo, but it's minus 127 against Tampa. I'm just curious on your thoughts on Buffalo because you were so high on them late last week.
Well, I mean, I'm sort of pulling for them, and I think that they've got the makings of a team that can definitely compete for the playoffs. But a lot of times you'll see teams come out with all those high expectations, especially a young team like that hasn't done it before. And sometimes it takes them a little while to get going. Yeah, they did not look good at all in their first game of the season in that one. And I think this is just their second game of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I missed one maybe, but did they play again?
No, they're 0-2.
Who else did they lose to? Who else did they lose to?
They lost at the Islanders. 5-1 at home to the Rangers. 3-2 on the road to the Islanders. Listen, I'm optimistic about Buffalo, but as a minus 127 home favorite against Tampa, 0-2 right now, not off to a great start. I think I'll probably leave that one. I'll be honest. I don't. Maybe the Coyotes is a little aggressive coming on the second of back-to-back nights. But I think the Coyotes might be the best value bet right now in the NHL. Like, I think everyone's just so used to that team and organization being such a joke. They actually have a lot more talent than they have in the past. You got Dumbo on the blue line, Logan Cooley's there, Clayton Keller's, and he is He gets the job done. But yeah, as far as what I'm thinking, I mean, do you like Van?
I like
in
Vancouver.
Philly?
Yeah, I like Vancouver. I know. I mean, you don't love betting on the Canucks, but
I mean, against Philly.
yeah.
Although,
I'm
as they say,
I'm okay fading the Flyers in this spot. I don't mind Vancouver, Edmonton, and then if we want to go somewhere else, I'd be okay moving that Dallas Vegas line up to 6.5, taking an under, but it goes to like -147 at that point. Oh, Edmonton Nashville's come down from 7. It's at 6.5 right now. That just happened.
and then what about the Wild in Montreal? Kirby Dach's out long term now. I mean, that to me is kind of one of those little mismatch. Vancouver, Edmonton, Minnesota comes out to +454. We could probably get the boys to take that one close to 5-1.
Three road teams. Roll with the road teams here.
Well, and that's what I did last night.
Yeah,
was
that's
the same
true. It was
thing.
that close, right? So
There's been there have been a number of road teams. I mean, I guess it's all matchup. I think we found that home ice in the National Hockey League.
So what about this one? This one just came in from Big Maple. It says Hurricanes -1.5 on the road in San Jose against the Sharks.
That's -120.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I would for sure put that in. Do we want to include that? Oh, geez, that's the ultimate road parlay. If we just had those four games
road
in,
teams
plus 916, or do we want to take out the Wild? Well, we could take out any of those teams. If we took the Wild out and just went Canucks, Oilers, Canes -1.5, it's +478.
I think I like that a little bit more.
Sure.
Yeah. Now we'll find out tomorrow if we switched and we're like, damn it, we should have stuck.
Yeah. By the way, just now that we've taken Minnesota out of the parlay, folks, go hammer them because they'll probably win 6-1 tonight.
Bet the Wilds -132. Bet them individually anyway. Get that money back just in case this parlay doesn't hit. But Jake or Patty, if you're watching, we're on Vancouver money line, Edmonton money line, Canes puck line, -1.5 at -120.
You know it. You know it.
All right. What about the NFL, man?
Dallas Vegas game is going to be great. Well, yeah, let's take a quick
look at the lines because yesterday when we looked, not all the lines were up yesterday when I was. Well, obviously not because it was Monday, but yeah, all the lines are up right now. Let me whip through this, and then we can kind of dive into any that we think we might want to hop on a little bit early. And if you're watching or you're listening right now at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. This one's actually in. It says, I had my first deep fried Mars bar at the Forks in Winnipeg, and I got to say, it was very mid. The Forks was nice, though. So that's good.
Listen, I appreciate that text and the fact that those are available at the Forks. I'm going to need to get down and, you know what? I'll report back to the lock shop. We need a second opinion on this. Although he said it was mid, you said it was mid. Maybe it's just mid.
Maybe it's just mid. We'll have to find out. All right, let's look at the NFL slate this week. The Jags. Man, the Jags, interesting schedule here with the Jags. I mentioned this earlier. So the Jags go overseas, play back-to-back games, come back home, don't get a bye week, play, and then now have to play on a Thursday again. Like, this is a tough sked for Jacksonville, man.
Yeah. How do you know that your team does not have a lot of stroke in the NFL office? Well, you're the one that gets sent to London every year. Although Shad Khan, I think, sort of bought in.
Yeah.
Like, they sort of want to be London's team. Well, for a long time, there was rumors that they were going to just straight up move there. But yeah, the Jags, I mean, that is a brutal schedule. They're 3-point underdogs at the Saints. The Saints are a mess right now.
Yeah, they are. This is a spot. But now, with that being said, isn't Lawrence dealing with a bit of a knee injury? I think he's dealing with a bit of a knee injury, so maybe that's.
I'd imagine he's playing. I mean, although the fact that they're 3-point underdogs, I have to admit,
I'm trying to think. I'm like, is this just a spot because of the short turnaround after 2 games over? And like, because why are the Jags getting 3 points here against the Saints? I would have to think that's got to do. I mean, if you think if you're going to play a hunch and think Lawrence is going to play, then you should probably hop on this right now. Because
I'll say one thing. This is just perfect Thursday night matchup. And but I do miss the usual TNF Super Bowl of the AFC South, the annual Thursday night Jags Titans game or Jags Texans. Doesn't seem right with the Saints rolling into AFC South territory to get into this game. But as I said, that one is no play right now. We got to get more info on Lawrence in particular.
Slight knee pain, I guess. He had a little bit of a brace on the left knee. So something to keep tabs on there.
Look at this next line. Is this disrespect for the
Of course it's disrespect for the best team in the NFC. 3-point dogs against Baltimore, who's been very up and down, in my opinion, so far this year. That's just that's a line that's set up just to get me to suck into it at this point. That's got to be what they're going for. They're just coming after me. But the Detroit Lions, 5-1 on the year, getting 3 points on the road in Baltimore.
How about the money line? Plus 135. I don't think that's going up. I mean, if anything, I think that'll come down. People are hot on Detroit right now. People love Detroit. They love betting on Detroit. And Detroit's been very good to people that have been backing them. It's going to be tough not to take those points and maybe a little sprinkle on the money line as well. Another 3-point spread in this next one. Book, clear your entire schedule and get in front of the television for the Raiders against the Bears with no Justin Fields. Who's the backup for the Bears again? Can't even remember the guy's name. We saw him for the first time on the weekend.
I'll bring it up here.
37.5 the total for that game.
That's a thriller.
And people are gonna pay real money to go to that game too.
Tyson Bagent? Is that
That's him. That's him.
You know who's third on their depth chart, for quarterbacks? Nathan Peterman.
Henry Burris.
No.
Peterman.
Peterman still exists. Peterman is still rolling out jobs.
Hey, the best job in the world is probably the third string quarterback. You're probably not getting in. Get to hold the clipboard. You're still a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, unless you're Nathan Rourke. Be up here in Canada making $600K playing games. That's what I'd like to see. But who knows? If Trevor Lawrence is banged up and this knee lingers around, maybe Nathan Rourke gets an opportunity to go full Doug Flutie south of the border. We'll see.
Let's just quickly see. Tyson Bagent went 10 of 14 for 83 yards and a pick. So, although very similar to what Justin Fields did, 6 of 10 for 58 yards and a pick. Bagent was 5.9 yards per completion, or I guess per attempt, and Fields was 5.8. Donta Foreman, he's the one guy that's somewhat relevant right now. Had 15 carries?
Yeah, he's involved. He's getting touches.
He'll get way more of the carries too with Fields being out. I mean, when they need to run the football,
that number should be cranked up. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. The Browns.
I was just gonna say that's enough on the Bears Raiders.
I don't think we'll talk about that game again for the rest of the week. So we probably got enough of that in right now. Browns 2-point road faves against the Colts. Cleveland coming off that big win. Are you surprised they're only giving up 2 here on the road in Indy?
Maybe it could be a little bit more. Cleveland, I mean, what a win. And PJ Walker is a
serviceable
functional quarterback in the NFL. Minshew looked terrible against the Jags. His homecoming, 3 picks and a fumble lost. I think we're probably going to see a heck of a lot more of the Colts try and run the football, although good luck against this Browns defense. Yeah, I think the early lean is on Cleveland, to be perfectly honest with you. They're like the Jets. They can basically win a game with their defense, even if they aren't getting much offensively. And I don't think, by the way, Jim Irsay, the owner with the loosest lips in the league, told ESPN that it's likely that Richardson is out for the season.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that today, right before we came on. Yeah.
Yeah, get ready for a lot of Gardner Minshew going forward. Oh, Patriots. Welcome the Bills at all.
Yeah, 8.5-point road favorites are the Bills against the Patriots. The Patriots can't, I know you're not usually a huge spread guy here, but the Patriots can't generate anything offensively, man. Like,
Nope.
How many points do the Pats have to score here to cover an 8.5? Do you think 14?
Well, if you had asked me this at 5 or 6 o'clock on Sunday, I would have been a ton. After I saw what Buffalo did and didn't do against the Giants, the depleted Giants at home on Sunday night, I'll be honest, I'm a little less confident in that, laying that sort of points on the road. I think I mentioned this yesterday. Josh Allen looks just absolutely exhausted right now. It's going to be something to follow going forward. But listen, yeah, the Patriots have done absolutely nothing to garner any confidence whatsoever between bettors right now. And to be honest, I think that they're probably in the mix right now to start legitimately thinking about calling the dogs off, trading some players, and trying to be there at the end for CJ Stroud. Another interesting note. So Bill Belichick is chasing Don Shula to be the winningest coach of all time. What I don't think he bargained for is that he might end up with the Paul Maurice Award by the end of this season, which is the losingest coach of all time. I think he needs 8 right now. And the way things are going, like he might get that this year well before he gets it. For all that incredible record that he had during the Brady era, 80-93 without Tom Brady on the clock. And it seems like the Golden Boy's shine gets bigger and brighter even when he's not playing, seeing what the Patriots are doing without Tom Brady right now.
Commanders 2-point road favorites against the Giants. Let me quickly whip through these, and then because there's a couple messages I want to get to. These are all kind of shorter lines. These 3 games, we'll kind of group these ones together. The Commanders 2-point favorites on the road against the Giants in a classic Commanders-Giants battle. Falcons 2.5-point road dogs against the Bucks, and then the Steelers 3-point road dogs against the Rams. I'm pretty sure somebody was in that nasty chat saying hammer the Rams. Yeah, Mark's saying hammer the Rams this week. Is there any play out of those 6 options that you really like?
Well, I'm a sucker for the Commanders. Although I didn't watch any of that game. And I did a little bit of a deeper dive into it. Desmond Ridder, I told you about how brutal that pick was.
That pick was awful.
At the end of the game. They had like 400 yards of offense, Atlanta did, and Washington had less than 200. So I don't really know how they won that game. But I think I might actually back them against the Giants, especially considering Danny Dimes is unlikely to play. Tyrod Taylor's okay. Commanders always seem to come up big. And you know what? And listen, I think the Bucks bounce back as well. Baker he didn't have a great game against Detroit, but I think that's a big credit to the Detroit line and defense. So I think if it's less than 3, I'll probably jump on Tampa, and I'm gonna have to see what's going on with Pittsburgh and LA as we get a little closer. I don't know why I haven't completely jumped on the Rams yet. Maybe it was just my preseason expectations where they were gonna really suck, and they've been a lot better than they have been so far. They looked great in the second half, though, blowing up my parlay against the Cardinals. They didn't do much in the first half, but man, when they started running the football with Kyron Williams, they were great. Although he might be out too. Tons of injuries right now. My God, the waiver wire, huge waiver wire week for fantasy.
We got Fantasy Football 5 waiver wire episode coming up here at the end of the Lock Shop today. Cardinals are 8-point dogs in Seattle. Packers and Broncos basically a pick 'em. That's Packers right now are a 1-point road favorite. Eagles, Dolphins. That'll be a fun one. Eagles are 2.
Oh, that's the Sunday nighter?
Yeah, Sunday nighter, but
Nice.
Eagles are 2-point home favorites against the Dolphins. And then the Niners and Vikings on Monday night. The Niners right now 6.5-point favorites. Any early thoughts on the Dolphins and Eagles? And then we'll get to some comments here.
Holy smokes. I'm pretty high on Miami.
Yeah, me too.
And a little down on Philly right now.
Do you think this line moves? Do you think it moves? Like, are a lot of people like us and kind of high on Miami right now and down on Philly? You think there's going to be enough action on the Dolphins when it's stuck at 2, though, to move that line?
I could see it getting, 1.5, 1. Philly, those are always a lot of people that are going to back the Eagles at home.
Yeah.
But the Dolphins have looked so explosive and they just score so many freaking points. Tell you what, I don't mind in that game is the over 51.5. I think that whoever wins that game is going to have to probably get into the 30s. That's going to be a hell of a Sunday nighter.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. That's going to be a good one. Our Lock Shop partner parlay is already up. Dog over at Cool Bets moving quick on this one. Vancouver Canucks money line, Oilers money line, Hurricanes -1.5. We got the boost up to +550. If you want to go snag that, hit the exclusives tab at coolbet.com and grab that +550. Canucks money line against the Flyers, Oilers money line. Are they going to start the year 0-3? I highly doubt it. And then Carolina in San Jose against the lowly Sharks. Carolina -1.5 on that one. I do want to get to this question. I mean, it all depends on what type of bankroll you're rolling with. But Tuna Melt is asking, what's the average sprinkle? What are we talking about here? How much is a sprinkle? At what dollar value does a sprinkle turn into a spray? Asking for a friend. Hus, how would we approach this, you know?
Well, okay. So I think if you're betting single games,
Yeah.
and I mean, it can be, I mean, like some guys with a ton of cash are betting $100. Some people are betting 10.
Yeah.
I often, I'll usually use units, usually around 25. And if I really like a game and I'm just putting a single on it, I will, put 40 or 50 sometimes on it. The sprinkle usually for me is like less than a unit. So like, maybe I'll throw 20 on it if I'm normally betting 25 or 30. But again, I mean, I think the most important thing to do is understand, just like you said, where your bankroll is, what you're willing to put out. I mean, you don't want to blow your brains out. You make a deposit or something. You don't want to lay it all on one night. I think it's important to kind of understand where you're starting. You're trying to grow it. So, make well-educated bets where you think you've got an edge or you like the number. You think it's going to come in. But I would suggest repeating a similar number for your single bets. And as they say, parlays are a lot riskier. Like, I love the fact that we get these exclusives in because it makes the parlay
more reasonable.
I mean, you're getting you're getting a much better odds. Obviously, there's a much greater risk. I mean, like last night, I was ahead because of the wins on Florida at +143 in Detroit. But if I had just rolled it in on the parlay, obviously it's a much bigger win, but at the same time, a stupid shootout goal can end up screwing you. So I think it's just important to be responsible, know where you're feeling. But yes, a sprinkle usually is a little less than what you'd normally put on if you're consistently betting a unit.
Yeah, for me, like if I'm
is.
consistently betting 20 to 25 on a game, I usually view a sprinkle as like a quick $10. Throw $10 out there on something along those lines. That's kind of like 50% of what I do. Mark is also asking, guys, Buffalo or Seattle in Survivor this week? Buffalo against New England, Seattle against Arizona, Seattle at home, Buffalo on the road.
Ooh, I think I'd probably take Seattle. Like, I think Seattle deserved a better fate. They were in the red zone all afternoon and got a touchdown and 2 field goals. And obviously they had to get a touchdown at the end. They didn't get it. They didn't get the job done. But I like this Seattle team. I think their defense is really good. And just watching how the Rams absolutely steamrolled the Cardinals in the second half. If we're just talking about winning the game, I think that's where I'd go right now. As I say, I'm a little like Buffalo was incredibly fortunate to win that game at home against the Giants. I'm giving them a little bit of a timeout right now as far as thinking that they're going to be steamrolling everybody.
Cardinals obviously banged up, get more and more banged up every single time. You're going to be looking at some of their running backs on the waiver wire this week in fantasy. So I think I'd probably slide with you on Seattle on that one. But, last week we might have said, take the Eagles or Niners, and it didn't end up working out for you in Survivor anyway. What's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk today, Hus?
Oh, man, all getting ready for the return of PLD. Dennis Bernstein is going to join us from LA. Mike McIntyre is going to join us from the Winnipeg Free Press. We'll hear from Rick Bonus and some of the players down at the rink from the morning skate. Look ahead a little bit to Elks Bombers coming up on the weekend. But it's going to be dominated by a big game tonight at Winnipeg, where the Jets right now -139 favorites. And again, I do have that WST revenge game special. Jets to win, Velarde and Iafallo to combine for 2 or more points. That's a +225 in the exclusives, right near our +550 lock shop. If you like that one, get on it. That thing's going to come down for sure, I think, when people bet it, just because when we put it in, I mean, that's one of the biggest boosts I think we've seen in a long time.
Because what was it at? What did you say it was at?
It was, let's
485
again.
I think it was 480,
Vancouver,
478 or something.
Edmonton, and yeah, +478. So it's up to +550. That's a very, very, very generous with the fellas today. Oh, and I've got my $15 free bet to throw down today too. I'll have to think about something good for that. Maybe we'll put that on the WST special, but it's good. Oh, and one other thing, I guess we don't know right now coming out of that game, Chargers Chiefs is also late game, in the late afternoon game next week. That's not on the board right now. We should have some clarity on that, and still waiting for CFL lines this week, I guess, as the lineups become a little more clear.
Yeah, exactly. There are going to be a few guys that are going to be waiting to make decisions, I would think, this week on the Canadian Football League. But when those lines do get posted, we'll have them for you right here on the Lock Shop. Check out Winnipeg Sports Talk with Hus, getting going right away. We got 2 guys in the goalie coming up at noon here, obviously setting up the Oilers and the Nashville Predators tonight with myself, Joaquin Gage, and Matt Cassie, and Fantasy Football 5 coming up right away. Hus, we'll talk to you tomorrow, man.
You got it, buddy. Enjoy the games tonight, everyone.
For sure. All right, let's do it. Fantasy Football 5 for a Tuesday, a waiver wire Tuesday. Where are those priority lists? You want to get in on that? We're sitting here in the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studios with Edmonton Sports Talk. And, of course, the Fantasy Football 5 every single day, Monday through Friday, brought to you by our great partners at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. Join Lieutenant Eric. They got the free square board. I never heard of a free square board in my life, but they're churning one out every single Monday and Thursday night, and on Sundays, I believe, at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge on Fort Road. Go join Lieutenant Eric and his jolly gang, and the sports bar kind of tucked into the back there of Century Casino on Fort Road. If you have any fantasy football questions, come on, you got to have some waiver wire questions. Let's go. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999 if you're listening live right now. And obviously on the nasty chat, too, if you want to get in on that. But we're going to take a look at some waiver wire targets. As for last night in fantasy, I mean, for those of you who kind of went in last night needing some points from some of the bigger guys in that game, you were probably relatively pleased with what happened last night. Outside of the quarterbacks, and Dak did run for a touchdown last night, threw for a touchdown, had 40 yards and 7 carries. Yeah, if you started Dak last night, you're probably pretty happy with it. Tony Pollard, no touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, no touchdowns. But Tony Pollard had 6 catches for 80 yards, including that big one that went off for 60. And then he had 15 carries for 30 yards. So not much on the ground in that one. CeeDee Lamb, give this guy a touchdown. Can we mix in a bloody CeeDee Lamb touchdown? 7 catches for 117 yards. Herbert, 227 yards, a couple passing touchdowns, did throw an interception as well. Austin Eckler was kind of getting ramped back up. Got some touches, had 18 touches in the game, 14 carries for 27 yards. Not a lot going on there. Herbert targeted him. Well, he caught 4 catches in the passing game as well. But Keenan Allen, 7 catches, 85 yards, touchdown. Kind of what most people were probably projecting and expecting for Keenan Allen in last night's game. So, I guess you could say Eckler was a bit of a dud. But outside of that, the other guys were okay. They're not going to win you their week, but it didn't probably cost you your week either, I would hope. But we'll see. As for the waiver wire this week, obviously there's some injuries that we're going to have to be keeping tabs on. The big one would be Christian McCaffrey, of course. If you have Christian McCaffrey in your league, we're going to have to follow updates on that as we work our way through the week here with the San Francisco 49ers. If you are a Christian McCaffrey owner, I hope you already had Elijah Mitchell stashed somewhere. In fact, I think in one of my leagues, I have Mitchell, and I hope I didn't drop him. can't remember which league it was, but I had Mitchell, and I was kind of just sitting on there waiting and hoping for a Christian McCaffrey injury. I know how greasy that sounds, but let's be honest, it's fantasy football. That's pretty much how we all sort of view it. But what's up with the ESPN Fantasy app right now? It's not loading. God. Oh, yeah, I got crushed in that one. So I don't think that's on this league. Let's see. Do I have him there? No. I know I've got Elijah Mitchell kicking around somewhere. Anyway, Elijah Mitchell, 57% rostered in CBS leagues. Chuba Hubbard, I think I saw in Yahoo leagues or ESPN leagues, was like less than 50%. Less than 50% owned. So that'd be a guy that you might want to look at as well. There's always the Jordan Mason angle with the San Francisco 49ers. If you want to get in on that, it's always like Christian McCaffrey way up here, and then you get to like it from an ownership perspective. Obviously, McCaffrey's at 100% owned and started. Elijah Mitchell's right now probably around that mid-50s percentage owned. And then you get down to Jordan Mason. We'll see how that plays out. The Rams find themselves in an interesting running back situation as well. I had stashed Ronnie Rivers just in case Kyron Williams got hurt. Kyron Williams is banged up, but I also believe Ronnie Rivers is banged up. So Zach Evans might be next on the depth chart there. I don't know how much you can expect from him. Craig Reynolds is an interesting one with the Detroit Lions as well. Pretty good weekend, or week, I should say, on the waiver wire. Unless you're these guys who have these running backs and you're being screwed like me with David Montgomery. David Montgomery's going to miss some time. Craig Reynolds is a guy that they already sort of mix in once in a while in the offense. He's not going to be able to bring you what David Montgomery brings you on a game-to-game basis, but he's also pretty much guaranteed to be available in most of your leagues. I think his ownership percentage is like 7% in CBS leagues right now and just a little bit higher in the other platforms. And then there's Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's, depending on where you look right now, I saw him ranging from about 57% owned to 65% owned. Now, you probably would have tried to stash Kareem Hunt in the past, but depending on the depth of your league and where your roster was at, if you're looking at 35% opportunities to still go out and get Kareem Hunt, that's a guy that I would possibly look at. What did he have for touches this week? Let me see. 28 snaps, 12 carries, 47 yards, and a touchdown. 3 catches for 24 yards on 3 targets. Jerome Ford outsnapped him and actually carried the ball okay. 17 carries for 84 yards, 2 catches for 7 yards and 2 targets. So might still be worth a stash at this point. I don't think you're picking Kareem Hunt up and starting him, but that could be stashy. Like, you might be able to do that with Kareem Hunt. 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat if you do have any waiver wire questions. You can always slide into my DMs as well. Justice Hill's an interesting one. I've got Justice Hill in a few leagues. I had to start him in one this week. He's sharing touches basically right now with Gus Edwards. We'll see how that story kind of works itself out. Let's see. Josh Downs, maybe. Wan'Dale Robinson, I get excited about for like 3 times a year, but never really have the confidence to start him. Curtis Samuel's kind of interesting. Curtis Samuel is, let's see here, 50% owned in CBS, 52% owned in Yahoo, and 51% owned in. So he's like available in half of leagues. He's got at least 14.2 PPR points 3 games in a row. So, at the beginning of the year, it was like, Jahan Dotson's the guy. And then early in the season, it's like, oh, no, Terry McLaurin might still be the guy. And now, whether you like to admit it or not, Curtis Samuel has kind of become the guy in an offense that you really don't want to have the guy in anyway. But if you're looking for somebody you might be able to slide in during a bye week into a wide receiver spot, you might be able to get away with Curtis Samuel. If you have any questions, ever, hit us up in the nasty chat, or, of course, you can text us 780-218-9999, or you can also find the Fantasy Football 5 every single day on the podcast feed as well. Boys, throw it up right after. And it's brought to you by Century Casino, Fort Road, Sports Barn Lounge at Century Casino. You're going to have a good time with Eric every Monday and Thursday night. On the way here at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, live sports talk, static free continues. 2 guys and a goalie on the way with myself, Cass, and Gager. The Edmonton Oilers looks like they're going to shuffle things up heading into this game against the Preds tonight. Tommy, you have your pregame show starting with Cass at 4:30 right here at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. But we're going to dive into that game. Your questions on two guys and a goalie coming up next here at EdmontonSportsTalk.com.